Hello, I'm Paul Carroll, technical writer for Digital Photo Magazine, and welcome to this Understanding RAW video tutorial on controlling colour. Having strong, bold colours in your images is a great way of giving your shots the wow factor. Take this abstract shot of the fence and sky for example. The colours in the initial as shot RAW file, up here in the top left hand corner, are looking a little flat and washed out. But with just a few tweaks in the Adobe Camera Raw interface, we can boost the colour and produce this much more pleasing and saturated result. So I'll close down these example images and then I can show you how it's done. Start by opening the file fence.dng into the full version of Photoshop, and this will automatically launch the Adobe Camera Raw interface. If you're using elements to convert your RAW files, then the only tools that you have for boosting colour are these vibrance and saturation sliders at the bottom of the Basic tab. Although these tools are good for boosting colour, their adjustment is global and it affects the whole image. And there's a much better way to achieve a more pleasing result if you use the full version of Photoshop. And that's the hue, saturation and luminance controls under the HSL and Grayscale tab, which is the fourth tab along in the interface. Under the HSL Grayscale tab, you have full control to adjust all the colours in your RAW file. HSL is an abbreviation for hue, saturation and luminance. Hue allows you to change the tone of a colour. Saturation lets you increase or decrease the colour strength. And luminance is for lightening or darkening individual tones. In this technique, we're going to use some of the saturation sliders to boost the colour strength in the sky and fence selectively, as well as using the blues luminance slider to darken down the sky and really set it off against the fence. So first off, I'm really going to push the colour saturation in the fence using the red sliders. I'm going to push it to the right and take the values into positive, and I've really boosted the reds in the fence there. I'm going to set the same value of plus 75 for the greens. So again, moving the slider to the right using my mouse, I can set the greens saturation to plus 75, and again really boosting the colour in the fence. And with the oranges and yellows, I'm going to set them to plus 65, and you can see that I've really increased the colour saturation of the fence without affecting the sky at all. So next I'm going to turn my attention to the saturation of the blues in the sky. Now the blues are already looking pretty good, and I don't want to push them quite as hard as I did the colours in the fence. So I'm just going to increase the blue saturation to about plus 30, and that's looking saturated enough to me. If the sky was a bit darker, however, it would really stand out against that colourful fence in the foreground. And we can darken down the blues of the sky by using the luminance tab. So again, using the blues slider, if I shift the slider to the left, I'm darkening down those blues. I'm going to set the value to something like minus 30, and you can see that's given us a much punchier and more vivid sky, which looks much better against the fence in the foreground, and I'm convinced that the colours of this abstract shot will now really bounce off my print. So it really is as simple as that to boost colours selectively in your RAW image files using the HSL Grayscale tab. And once you're happy with an adjustment, all you need to do is simply hit the Done button to close and save that adjustment. If you're running the latest version of Photoshop, CS4, like I am here, and you have the latest Camera Raw plugin, version 5.3, then there's a cool new tool for adjusting colour in Camera Raw, and I'll show it to you now. So I'll just open our start image again, fence.dng, and if you take a look at the tools in the toolbar at the top of the screen, you can see that we've got our new tool here, the targeted adjustment tool, which is housed with all the other colour control tools like the white balance and the colour sampler. The targeted adjustment tool is a really intuitive way of adjusting colour in a RAW image file. That's because it allows you to click directly on the RAW image and drag with your mouse either left or right to boost or reduce colour. If you click on the new tool with your left mouse button, you get a flyout menu, giving you a range of different adjustments. The parametric curve allows you to fine-tune the tonal range for tweaking and exposure. The hue, saturation and luminance options allow you to control colour in the same way as using sliders under the HSL Grayscale tab, but as I say, in a more intuitive way. And the Grayscale Mix option at the bottom of the menu is for making mono conversions. So I'm going to make the same adjustments as I did earlier in the technique. I'm going to start by selecting Saturation from the menu, and as you can see, that's brought me into the HSL Grayscale tab on the right hand side of the screen. Now all I need to do is click on the colour that I want to boost the saturation in, so I'll start with the reds, and if I hold down my mouse button and drag to the right, if you take a look in the HSL Grayscale palette, you can see that the red and orange sliders are now being moved simultaneously as I drag my double-headed arrow to the right. So I'm going to settle on a saturation of plus 78 and plus 58. Next I'll turn my attention to the yellows, so again I'm just going to click and hold, drag to the right, and now I'm boosting the yellows and oranges sliders. So I'm going to go for around plus 75 on the yellows. Again on the greens, click and hold, then just drag to the right, and I'm increasing the greens. I'm going to go for a greens value of around plus 75, and there you go. You can see that I've really boosted the colour saturation of the fence in a much quicker and intuitive way. Next I want to control the saturation in the sky, so again I'm just going to move up to some of the blue tones in the sky, click with my left mouse button, and I'll just show you if I drag to the left I actually decrease the saturation, and you can see in the palette that I'm now going into negative values, and if I go all the way to minus 100 we've got a mono sky. But I want to boost the saturation, so again I can just drag back to the right. As I do so, colour returns to the image, and I'm going to set my blue saturation to around plus 30. Okay, so I want to darken down that sky again, so back up to the icon for the targeted adjustment tool in the toolbar. Hold down my mouse button to get the flyout menu. This time I'm going to select luminance, and again I can just click and drag on the sky. This time I want to drag to the left just to darken down that sky and take the blue slider into negative values, and again if I set the blues to around minus 30 I've just really darkened down that sky again. And there we go, the targeted adjustment tool, a much quicker and easier way of adjusting colours in your raw image files if you're running the latest version of Photoshop, CS4, and you have the Camera Raw plugin version 5.3. I really hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial on boosting colour in RAW. Give it a go using the start image of this month's CD, and then get boosting colour in your own RAW images in the future. Okay, cheers.